Wonderboy Thompson just made one of the worst decisions of his entire career, and that is dooming himself to never becoming a UFC champion because he has just agreed to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov. I understand that this is it for him. He wants to take on the highest ranked contender that can get him to the belt, but he's not going to win. He's going to get absolutely smoked. And I don't think that this matchup teaches us anything. And I don't even think it's going to be that entertaining. We will be seeing this on UFC 296. Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. It'll be maybe the feature fight on that card. But before I rant about that, guys, we have some other massive fight announcements. Deiveson Figueiredo is going to be welcomed to the bantamweight division by Rob Font, which is an amazing fight. That's going to be on the first card in December. I think it'll be a fight night main event. We also have the return of Benoit St-Denis. He's going to be fighting Matt Frevola, and we have a couple other matchups that I'm going to talk about at the end of this video as well. Guys, let's just get to the Wonderboy Thompson and Shavkat Rakhmonov fight. Listen, I know we've seen a lot of upsets this year. Think about every single one of the upsets. The guys that are winning are always the younger ones. We're talking about Sean O'Malley, younger than Aljamain Sterling by 4 or 5 years. We're talking about Dricus du Plessis, younger than Robert Whittaker by 2 or 3 years. Sean Strickland, younger than Adesanya by 2 years. And the guys that are usually losing are the people that are kind of not complacent, not lazy, but, maybe they're not turning it up to the next level every single training camp. Maybe they're not constantly pushing the envelope to get that much better, and they're just kind of maintaining what they already have. Shavkat Rakhmonov is the younger guy in this situation. He's going to be the favorite. He's not a guy that's ever been a champ. He is a hungry, hungry animal, and he is going to go in there. He's going to take down Wonderboy and beat the fuck out of him and sub him. Now, I'm just wondering why the hell Wonderboy even took this fight. I know that he wants to get the best chance of fighting for the title, but if you think about it, bro, why not fight Ian Gary? You know what I mean? I know Ian Gary is ranked at 11. Shavkat's number 6. But he has a chance to beat Ian Gary. Ian Gary's not a guy that has devastating power. He's not a guy that's going to be shooting takedowns. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a guy that if he struggles on the feet, he will get a hold of Wonderboy Thompson. He'll have a massive size advantage. He'll have a granite chin to be able to walk through whatever kick Wonderboy Thompson has to throw at him. And he'll take him down and twist him into a pretzel. Because Shavkat Rakhmonov is more dangerous than a lot of other people that have out-grappled Wonderboy before. We've seen Gilbert Burns out-grapple Wonderboy. Held on to him for dear life, didn't really do a whole lot with it, but still won the fight because of the control time. I've seen Bilal Muhammad make Wonderboy Thompson look like an amateur. And this was a couple of years ago, it seems like. Shavkat Rakhmonov has basically every advantage in the book when it comes to physicality, when it comes to grappling. That is Wonderboy's weakness. He has a relentless forward pressure that I don't think Wonderboy is going to be able to work around. So once again, I'm just going to say this. Why the fuck is he taking this fight? If his goal is to be a champion, you want to win. Dude, I'm just going to say it like this. Wonderboy should have taken 2 fights to get to the belt rather than this one. If he were to beat Ian Gary and then maybe have a step up fighting Kamaru Usman, that's a better chance. I think Kamaru Usman is a more winnable fight for Wonderboy, and I think that Wonderboy gets smoked by Kamaru too. I don't even necessarily know if he beats Ian Gary, but Ian Gary at least is on the new vegan diet. I know Wonderboy Thompson's 40 years old, his testosterone's declining, but Ian Gary, his test is declining by the day, weaker by the day. Ian Gary should start a whole YouTube series on that because he's on the vegan diet. His hormones are going to shit. And I think that Wonderboy Thompson would be on an even playing field. And he's definitely the more proven striker. Oh, I know Ian Gary just destroyed Neil Magny, but Neil Magny ain't shit. Wonderboy Thompson's on another level. I want to see Wonderboy Thompson in fights that are going to be competitive. This is not going to be a competitive fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to finish Wonderboy Thompson in the first or second round. And it's not going to be like a war. It's not going to be a barn burner. So once again, I'm just thinking to myself, it's really one of the worst matchups you could make. I want to see Shavkat Rakhmonov in a matchup against Bilal Muhammad. I want to see how he can do against a wrestler like Bilal who's super defensively sound, who's got really good cardio, who's a guy that's hard to pin down. I want to see, that teaches me a lot. That's 2 of the best young up-and-coming contenders in the game that are both going to be fighting for belts in the future, most likely. Maybe not Bilal because the UFC doesn't want him to be a champ, but you guys get what I'm saying. We could have seen something else. You know what I mean? Like Wonderboy Thompson and Ian Gary could have maybe been on that December pay-per-view, and the UFC could have told him, listen, you win this one, we'll get you a number 1 contenders fight. Maybe they told him he'll get a title shot if he beats Shavkat, but he ain't fucking beating Shavkat, man. He's not. He's not taking him out. Simple as. You know what I mean? Like you're dreaming if you think Wonderboy's beating Shavkat Rakhmonov. And if you're going to say, oh, look at all these upsets, I'm sorry, bro. The upsets are always in favor of the younger fighter this year. And they're always between the two best guys in the world in title fights. Wonderboy Thompson is not a top 5 welterweight. He's not. There are 5 guys that are simply better than him in this division that beat him every single goddamn time. It's out of the cards. It is. And I know that we can't convince him of this, but like, this is just the harsh reality. He's 40 years old. He has a one-dimensional style. He's one of the best strikers in the game. But at the top of that division, it's nothing but killers that are going to be taking him down and twisting him into pretzels. I just would have rather seen something else. I really would have. Maybe have both of them fight on that card. Bilal Muhammad, tell him, listen, you're either going to wait a long, long time or you can fight now and guarantee your title shot. And I know the UFC always tells Bilal that he has a guaranteed title shot and then they just fucking put him on the sidelines for years. But I want to see Bilal Shavkat and I want to see Wonderboy and Ian Gary. It's a winnable fight for Wonderboy. I understand if it's all about the title for Wonderboy at this point, which he's made clear it is actually all about the title for him, then you want to give him some leeway. But it's like, buddy, someone needs to grab him by the shoulders and let this man know, look him in the eye and say, you're not going to be a champ. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, man. It is what it is. Wonderboy, you can't say that to the guy. You can't convince him of this because he's still a fighter. He still wants to be that top guy, but he's not taking out Shavkat. Shavkat's unflukeable, bro. This guy's OP. He's an overpowered fighter. I would have much rather have seen Wonderboy Thompson beat up Ian Gary, on a steak-fed diet. Going in there, out to Dublin, taking him out, 5-rounder, outclassing him, showing levels and experience, then fighting someone else. Maybe someone coming off of a loss. Maybe someone that's been touched up a little bit like Kamaru Usman in his previous fights. Maybe his knees aren't looking so good. Wonderboy Thompson can go to the wobblestone, cobblestone knees of Kamaru and maybe edge out a decision in a 3-rounder on a pay-per-view, and then he gets his title shot. But even that path is not likely. Let's get on to the next one. I think that Rob Font is going to piece up Deiveson Figueiredo, and I think he's going to beat him up for 3 rounds. Deiveson Figueiredo is 35. Rob Font is 36. The thing about Deiveson Figueiredo is I think he's really lost it. I do think that Father Time has caught up to him because he's looked so unbelievably terrible in his last outing. He did. Like the amount of a skill drop-off that I saw from the 3rd fight with Brandon Moreno to the 4th is unbelievable. Deiveson Figueiredo went from dropping Brandon Moreno in that 3rd fight, having one of the greatest fights we've ever seen at flyweight, really good back and forth, showing a great game plan with the leg kicks, to not even being able to hit the chin of Brandon Moreno once in the span of, 3 or 4 rounds? The guy can't find the mark. His accuracy, it's gone. His reaction, his timing, it's gone. I think that Rob Font is one of those guys where even though he is older too, even though he's maybe past his physical prime, he's still able to maintain a little bit of the speed, the combinations, the finesse with his boxing. And I think that because Deiveson Figueiredo is not as accurate as he used to be, he's not as much as a savage who's willing to take as much damage like he used to, I think he's going to get pieced up by the boxing of Rob Font because Figueiredo, in my opinion, is a little bit of a one-dimensional striker. He doesn't throw that many kicks, even though he was throwing a lot of leg kicks against Brandon Moreno in the trilogy, and that's what kind of set him off to having a good performance in that fight. He doesn't throw them all that often. I haven't seen him go to leg kicks that much outside of that one fight. And he's more of just a headhunter for the most part. And it's like if he's not able to tag the head, he'll go to the body, but he's only connecting a couple of body shots per round. I think that Rob Font's going to overwhelm him in the boxing and maybe even put him out. Maybe even put Deiveson Figueiredo away. Because we've expected Rob Font to get pieced up by a couple of guys where he's actually shown a really good version of himself, like against Adrian Yanez. I thought Adrian Yanez was going to be able to go out there and maybe piece him up and knock him out. And Rob Font, all the damage that he's taken in his career, being made to look like the elephant man against Marlon Chito Vera is something that's not going to be good for when he's taking on these young up-and-coming killers that have a lot of pop in their hands. But he sent Adrian Yanez to the shadow realm. You know what I mean? And I think that he's going to have a pretty big size advantage over Deiveson Figueiredo. I know Figueiredo is a pretty big flyweight, but he's older now. And even though he is a guy that cuts a lot of weight, his stature, he's got a bit of a small frame for the bantamweight division. Rob Font is by no means a small guy in that division. And unless Deiveson Figueiredo makes it a purpose to grapple, I think he's going to lose this fight. If Deiveson Figueiredo does mix it up, though, Like, if he has a very well-rounded approach, then I think he can beat Rob Font, because the thing is, Deiveson Figueiredo is a really underrated grappler, and we've seen that throughout all of his fights with Brandon Moreno. All the beautiful scrambles and grappling sequences and all the submissions we've seen from Deiveson Figueiredo in the past, he will have a significant grappling advantage, but I don't know if he's going to have the same ability to control Rob Font like Corey Sandhagen did. But if I'm Deiveson Figueiredo's team, I'm going to basically make him orient his training camp around mixing it up. You know, not just a only wrestling approach, but mixing it up, mixing in the takedowns every now and then, threatening submissions. I think that's his way to victory, but ultimately I am going to go with Rob Font. And the last fight that I want to break down is Benoit St-Denis and Matt Frevola. I think that Benoit St-Denis is going to absolutely mop the floor with Matt Frevola. Matt Frevola, in my opinion, is a poor man's Drew Dober. All right, and I know that Drew Dober is a little bit past his prime, and Matt Frevola did beat him. And I actually picked Matt Frevola to beat Drew Dober, which is pretty crazy. But I did pick him to win that fight. I think that this is just the lower, poor man's version of Drew Dober that is still in his prime. Matt Frevola is a younger, poor man's version of Drew Dober. So he still is in his physical prime. He has the grappling ability. He has a lot of power in his hands. But I think Benoit St-Denis' pressure and his ability to mix it up in the feet, not just headhunting, going to the body with the most wicked body kicks we've seen in that division since maybe Rafael Fiziev, I think that Benoit St-Denis is going to absolutely butcher this man and break him. I think he's going to march him down. He's going to kick him to the body. He's going to eat all of Matt Frevola's shots like Tic Tacs because he's still young. He's in his 20s. I think he's only 27 years old. And he's got a granite chin, which is something that is really overpowered. And now we just saw him out-grapple Thiago Moises. And you could talk about the grappling of Matt Frevola, but it's not on Thiago Moises' level. Thiago Moises was a guy that was thought of as being like a pretty solid grappler. No one really talks about Matt Frevola as being that great of a grappler, even though he has it in his back pocket. Like, we've seen him out-grapple Jalen Turner back in the day. But I think Benoit St-Denis, especially with the threat of the grappling, after seeing what he just did to someone like Thiago Moises, after seeing how much he ragdolled him and broke him in every realm of the fight, I think that's going to put a fear into the mind of any lightweight that's taken him on, and they're going to have to respect the grappling just as much as the striking. And because Benoit St-Denis has a granite chin, and because he has tons of power in his hands, I think he's just a menace to deal with in that division because you have so many different things to worry about coming in your direction. Body shots, massive power overhands, and, of course, the takedowns, the submission attempts, a guy with endless cardio. I think Benoit St-Denis is going to be cracking into the top 15 with this win, and I cannot wait to see it as well. Perfect fight for the Madison Square Garden card. It's going to be a war. This could potentially be maybe the feature fight or maybe just the opening of the main card. I think that would be a really good opener for the main card. And some other fights that were announced, Michael Morales, Jake Matthews. I'll probably be going with Jake Matthews. I think that Michael Morales is really good, but he's still a little green. He's still very young. And even though he just beat Max Griffin, like, Max Griffin is just a cut below Jake Matthews at this point. And then, of course, we have another matchup, Azamat Murzakanov and Khalil Roundtree. Do not sleep on this one. This is going to be a sleeper matchup because I think that these are two of the most dynamic strikers in that division. Azamat Murzakanov looks like an old Shamil Abdurakhimov type of guy, but he's actually a fucking fast twitch menace in the light heavyweight division as well. I think Khalil Roundtree has a decent chance here, though, and I can't wait to see any Khalil Roundtree fight. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.